So now we will share the recorded sermon of Reverend Kimberly Debus, Engaging the Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Spirit of life is a phrase so common in Unitarian Universalism, it almost sounds like one word, spirit of life. We say it easily and without thought. We talk about spirit, sing about spirit a lot. This is our word, our shorthand for acknowledging that which is beyond us, even if we're not entirely sure there is anything beyond us. Spirit of life is comfortable and comforting because it is so deeply in us, because it is us. Unitarian theologian James Luther Adams suggests that our faith is dependent on the spirit behind creation and in all of our prophetic witness. And so it is something that connects us, that compels us to the work of justice and compassion, that holds us in times of celebration and times of sorrow, and certainly in these troubled times. We may never really know what it is, but as Unitarian Universalist, Spirit helps us put a name to that something, that great mystery. Many Unitarian Universalist ministers begin prayers with the words Spirit of Life, even if we then follow it up with names like Mystery, Infinite All, Creator, Parent, God, that which holds all. We always start with Spirit of Life. And I blame Carolyn McDade. Now, in all the best ways, of course, as her song, Spirit of Life, 123 in the Gray Hymnal, has become a cornerstone in Unitarian Universalism. This song is incredibly meaningful to us. Some even consider this to be the Unitarian Universalist hymn, touching so much that is central to our faith. It is perhaps best well known of what we might call our insider songs, and it's used throughout the denomination as an invocation, as a sung response to joys and sorrows, as a hymn of meditation, as a final song of blessing, even a song of welcome to membership. It's hard to remember a time when the song wasn't so deeply ingrained into the fabric of our Unitarian Universalist lives. Yet it wasn't always so beloved. While some congregations were singing the song from photocopies of a passed-along handwritten sheet in the 80s and early 90s, some had never encountered it. The Reverend Tom Belote talks about growing up in one of the Boston area churches and hearing Spirit of Life for the first time when the Gray Hymnal, Singing the Living Tradition, was released in 1993. The song, so simple, only one verse in a folk modality, seemed useless and foreign. "How is this a hymn?" the people cried out. They hated it. They hated the shortness of it, the sound of it, the language in it. And that congregation wasn't the only one. It took quite a while for Spirit of Life to catch on everywhere in the denomination. We forget this bit of our history, that this song hasn't always been the mainstay it is now. And even though other songs like Blue Boat Home are vying for position, Spirit of Life remains. For many, it speaks truth. For others, it is a reminder of connection. For some, it is grounding, even sacred. And that's true for me too. But I worry sometimes that we misuse it or misunderstand it or use it as a shibboleth or a sign of our faith. Some Unitarian Universalists use it as a declaration of our theology, which it isn't, even though it is deeply aligned with the theologies we espouse. It's aligned with our values of justice, equity, compassion, but it often gets used rather like a creed, which is a hard sell in our non-creedal faith. Remember, while each of us may have our own personal beliefs, as a faith, we don't espouse or demand belief in any particular doctrine. That's the freedom of our liberal religion and the call of our pluralism. And anyway, Spirit of Life as a statement of belief doesn't even work really, as there's nothing in there that hints at an I believe statement. No less our much more open and somewhat challenging call to affirm and promote them. But worse, I worry that some of us use this song as a show to others of our righteousness. There's a Christian song that goes, "They will know we are Christians by our love, by our love." And I think there are some Unitarian Universalists who sing Spirit of Life in the same way. Look how good we are. Look how noble we are. Look how woke we are. But Spirit of Life is not a brag. It's not a statement of theology. It is a prayer. It is the prayer of an individual, of one person exhausted, crying out for help, for comfort, for a renewal of that fire of commitment. It is a prayer that comes out of a place of humility. In a 2007 interview with UU World, Carolyn McDade reflects with contributing editor Kimberly French on the event that inspired the song, a meeting for Central American solidarity. McDade says, "When I got to my friend Pat's house, I felt like a piece of dried cardboard had lain in the attic for years. Just open the door and I'll be dust. I was tired, not with my community, but with the world. She just sat with me, and I loved her for sitting with me." Then McDade drove to her own home. "I walked through my house in the dark, found my piano, and that was my prayer. May I not drop out. It was not written, but prayed. I knew more than anything that I wanted to continue in faith with the movement." And thus, the prayer was written. A longing for support, for rest, for renewal, for perspective. A plea for the Spirit of Life to come. A knowing that we can't do this all by ourselves. It is a plaintive song. It is a humble song. And not just because it's a simple tune with one verse. It takes humility to sing to Spirit, to ask Spirit to bring the things that should be cornerstones of how we are in the world. And that is what matters. Always, of course, because our work of justice never seems to be over. But right now, we need all the strength we can get as we face a world where division, power, greed, and violence seem to matter more than our collective humanity. In their book, Survival of the Friendliest, evolutionary anthropologists Brian Hare and Vanessa Woods posit that we evolved to be caring, compassionate, and connected. And it's those qualities that not only signal a big reason why Homo sapiens alone survived among the human species, but also why some communities thrive more than others today. One of their chapters explores politics, where this idea of division comes from. And they bring up the effects of the 1994 midterm elections. As Hare and Woods write, in 1995, a young Republican congressman from Georgia by the name of Newt Gingrich came up with a plan to loosen the hold Democrats had had on Congress for more than 40 years. His theory was that as long as Congress was working, people would not want to change the party in control of it. In his words, you have to blow down the old order to establish a new order. One of Gingrich's main tactics as Speaker of the House was to institute policies explicitly designed to make friendships between Republicans and Democrats difficult, if not impossible. He started by simply changing the Washington work week from 5 to 3 days, so Republican representatives would spend the majority of their time in their home districts, connecting with constituents and fundraising. This move hindered cross-group friendships since fewer Congresspeople moved their families to Washington. The political scientist Norman Orstein wrote, "It used to be all the time that members were around on weekends, they'd have dinner parties, or they'd wind up with their kids at the same schools. We just don't have that anymore." On Capitol Hill, Gingrich forbade Republican cooperation with the Democrats, either in committees or on the floor of the House. When Republicans spoke about a Democrat or the Democratic Party, they were advised to use dehumanizing language that elicited disgust, to characterize the opposition with words such as decay and sick. Gingrich frequently compared the Democrats to the Nazis. When he led the Republicans into this new and hostile territory, many Democrats eagerly followed suit. There were no more deals worked out behind closed doors, no bipartisan meetings or caucuses. Eventually, Hare and Woods conclude, the norms Gingrich introduced the House took over the Senate's culture as well. Oh. The use of dehumanizing language in Congress spread like wildfire. And over again in the last 3 decades, we have seen more and more and more of it. Most certainly in our politics, but also throughout our everyday lives and in the lives and politics of people around the world. Every war being fought right now is about divisions, power, greed, hate, othering, discrimination. Some people don't just hate other people now, they literally are trying to eliminate them. And we sit in a room, in a Zoom. You're here watching me. But look around you, people who come from many of these cultures, some of whose families are still in places of division and war and destruction. We know for some here, English is not their first language or the first language of their parents. We know some here are immigrants or descendant of immigrants or the descendants of colonizers or are the stolen and the colonized. Some have more wealth than others. Some have intrinsic identities that are literally deemed illegal in some places. Some have medical needs that are illegal in some places. And of course, we have all different kinds of families and different abilities and different beliefs, which causes more divisions. We who are worshiping together this morning are all remarkably different. And according to those forces trying to divide us, we shouldn't be connected this way. We should be angry with each other, scared of each other, only associating with our own kind. It takes a lot of humility to honor the uniqueness of each person gathered, to honor the uniqueness of each person, period. And it takes a lot of strength. Strength that we don't always have a big supply of. And so we pray, Spirit of life, come unto me. We know there is a different way, a more connected way to help heal the wounds we carry, to help bridge the divisions that keep us from building beloved community. We must remember that kindness and friendliness, listening, welcome, and supporting and giving, these are the hallmarks of one world. We can refute the hate and the isolation and the fear and the greed that mars our world. And it's exhausting. Spirit of life, come unto me. We need all the help we can get. How do we fight injustice and work for liberation and not crumble from the exhaustion of compassion, fatigue, or numb ourselves to the horrors of the world? As Reverend Nadia Bowles-Weber writes, our psyches were not developed to hold, feel, and respond to everything coming at us right now. Every tragedy, injustice, sorrow, and natural disaster happening to every human across the entire planet in real time, every minute of every day. The human heart and spirit were developed to be able to hold, feel, and respond to any tragedy, injustice, sorrow, or natural disaster that was happening just in our village. And yet, in this global world view, we still must hold on to it as best we can. When we do it together, we remember whatever your thoughts on existence or not of a higher power, the spirit of life is us. It is in the kindness, in the generosity, in the comfort and compassion, in the support, in the listening and the witnessing, in speaking for those who cannot speak or who have forgotten how. It is in the remembering that everyone is worthy and whole, and your spirit can re-spark someone else's, just as they can re-spark yours. And when we pray for that spark to return, we remember the call of our faith. Spirit of life reminds us of those stirrings of compassion and justice, our connection to the earth and each other. Spirit of life, come unto me. Every time we bring our gifts to others through providing support for those in need, caring for one another, doing the good, hard work of maintaining your community, doing the healing work of supporting our broken hearts, helping us speak out and speak truth. Every time we do as the Spirit says do, we are engaging the Spirit of life. More than ever, we need the Spirit of life. We need our spirits to catch fire, to rise up in us, to cause us to rise up to what this moment in history is calling to. And so we pray, Spirit of life, come to us. Come to us. Let us sing.